Well, we live in strange times, don't we? Quite extraordinary. We have in the Western Hemisphere, it seems, and down in the Southern Hemisphere, politicians who don't know what a woman is. They can't define a woman. I've seen the Australian Senate, I've seen the American Senate, I've seen the leader of the opposition, Keir Starmer, totally confused by what a woman actually is. Well, I've been married for 35 years. We've got a small holding in East Yorkshire, a few chickens, a few dogs, a few horses, bits and pieces. And I've been on the planet for nearly 72 years. I've never really had a problem with what a woman is. I know what a woman is. I think most people know what a woman is. What we don't know, we chaps don't know, is what makes them tick. And we'll probably never find that out. But I have been involved in corporate sponsorship of sport in my time, my professional career. And one of the biggest sponsorships I ever did was ladies rugby. I was a big supporter and still am of ladies rugby, and in the early days before it became popular in the 90s. And of course, if you see the standard they play now at international level, it's extremely good. I'm very proud indeed to have been part of it. I spoke to some of the ladies whom I sponsored years ago, who are still very senior in business, as they would be as varsity girls, and to try and see if I could get their take on it all. And basically their response was, don't involve me, I don't want to know, I'll be vilified in my academic career or vilified in my medical career, whatever it is, please leave me out of it, I don't want to talk about it. Okay, well, fair enough. And then of course we saw the swimmer, I think it was Idaho, the swimmer, who identified as a female but was in fact male, go from something like number 500 in the pecking order of swimmers in America to number 1, and he won the Idaho Women's Championship. Now it seems to me that I'm getting something wrong here. I've got a feeling this is my fault. I'm misunderstanding this. He was interviewed by a female sports journalist just after he won, she won, whatever you want to call it, and nobody seemed to have a problem. She didn't have a problem. The fellow competitors didn't have a problem. The sponsors didn't have a problem. The Swimming Association of Idaho, I think it was, didn't have a problem. So nobody seems to have much of a problem with this, except those who want to keep the traditional man-woman sport thing separate, which is led by the great swimmer Sharon Davis and the writer J.K. Rowling and others, with whom I have quite a lot of sympathy. But it seemed to me that we could possibly have a solution, as our politicians can't define what a woman is, then they're the legislators. It's going to be very difficult to move forward in sport, when it comes to sport. So it struck me that wouldn't it be more sensible to actually take gender identification out of sport entirely, because I don't think it needs to be there. So for example, in equestrian sport, men and women can compete on equal terms. Jockeys and over the sticks, whatever it is, on the flat, dressage, whatever it is, they all compete on the same basis. So you can have the same Olympic gold medalist, male or female. So it doesn't happen in equestrian sport. Now it struck to me, would it not be better to try and continue this idea into all sport? And think about it, if you will. Let's have a look at, for example, in North America, we look at the sport of baseball. Baseball is very popular summer sport in North America and indeed Japan. So basically, what's the difference between that and rounders, which is played in Britain by ladies? You have a stick, you have a ball, you whack it, and you run round. You run round the triangle or whatever it is. Well, don't see why you need to be a man or a woman identified in order to do that. Let's have a look at golf. I don't play the game myself. But basically you've got a stick and you've got a little ball the size of an egg and you whack it round a course. Does it really matter whether you're a man or woman to do that? Does that matter? Why make a big deal of it? Wouldn't it be interesting to have a really open tennis championship at Wimbledon, come one, come all? Doesn't matter whether you're male, female, or what you identify as. Let's have one trophy. And let's see who the best tennis player in the world is, regardless of man or woman or what anybody self-identifies as. Let's just see the same with Australian Open and so on and so forth. Let's just see who the best tennis player is. It would strike me that that would be an easier way forward rather than going down this rabbit hole of trying to identify what a female is if our legislators can't actually identify that. And for those who want the traditional female sports like Sharon Davis and J.K. Rowling and others to preserve that, well, there's an option there too. You are protected in a number of states in America, for example, from a legislative perspective. So if you're in Florida or South Dakota or Texas or Arizona, and all those states, you could have the swimming associations say, no, this is a woman's trophy, and it can only be competed for by women who were born women, or men who were born men, or, whatever. So that can be parked over there, and then the sponsors, the spectators, the participants can say, that's what I want to do. I want the traditional way of doing things. And that also would be fine. And you could run anything you like on the same basis. Any sport would be the same. And you could do the same with tennis. You could say, no, this particular ladies' championship is for women who were born women and men who were born men, or whatever. And then you've got the trophy, of course, which is come one, come all. Man, woman, or whatever you identify as. There's something for everybody here, isn't there? There's something for everybody here if we organised ourselves. Now, I know a lot of people watching this, a lot of my followers are traditionalists. I'm a traditionalist myself. But we can do this. We can do this. This is quite a simple thing to do. And it would make it fairer. It would make it more balanced. It would be the interest in global sport generally. Let's all do what we want to do. And then we don't need to involve politicians or legislators or anybody else in it as to who or what identifies as a woman. As I say, I'm fairly comfortable that I know what a woman is. At 72 and 35 years marriage, I really ought to be. And I'm sure you are too. But so let's get together. We can work this out. Well, greetings to you. As you know, social media was a wonderful invention so that we could all communicate with each other and share our views and share views that aren't necessarily in line with the establishment, the global establishment, which is run mainly by banks and big pharma. So I've been doing my best to do that, but I am increasingly being shadow banned or taken down, and so are many others. So beware of that, and I will be tagging anything I do in the future with various sources and various channels so that you will know, well, I've been censored from this, but I've been censored, but you can find it somewhere else. So the whole thing can continue. And I think some of these new channels, which aren't owned by the establishment or influenced by the establishment, banks and big pharma and all the rest, you'll be able to follow the facts. And that doesn't mean fact checkers, of course, which are owned by the establishment. So I just thought I'd give you the heads up on that. And thank you for your sponsorship and your support. I thank you for it. Without you and the information that sometimes you people send me, I couldn't continue. Thank you again. As most of you know, my work is very heavily independently research based. And I get my information from all over the world. It would help if you press the subscribe button and the little bell next to it, because the more subscribers I have, the more likely it is that international independent research institutes will share their material with me. It's most helpful, and then of course I automatically share it with you. So surprise, won't cost you anything. Thank you very much.